So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Welcome back to the channel, my mega iPhone collection 2021. Now by the end of this video, you're going to know the story behind why I picked up all these iPhones, but a couple disclaimers. First of all, I don't make this video to flex, to show off. That's not the point. The point is to be transparent. I want to do something most YouTubers will never do, and that's show you every single thing we have in our inventory for the channel. Remember, all these are tools for our channel so we can continue to make videos for this channel. And if you see any phone here that you guys do want to see videos on that I don't cover often, or you just miss them, let me know, because we got plenty here that we can cover. Also, I didn't make this video last year. I usually make one every year to kind of keep you up to date with what we have, but you know, during the pandemic it just definitely didn't feel right. But now that things are looking a little bit better now, a little bit more optimistic, I decided let me be transparent with them here, let them know what we have on the channel. And lastly, you know, I do give away iPhones, but these ones are for the channel specifically. I've given away iPhone 11, I've given away iPhone XR, 2 SEs, and I plan to do another one at 700,000 subscribers. So be subscribed. Let people know to be subscribed so they can enter in at 700,000 as well. But let's go through each one of these. First, let's do a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 iPhones here. Now, there could be many more than that, but you know, this is already many to manage. Let's start here with iPhone 1. So the first generation iPhone. And by the way, I'm shooting this on Samsung's Galaxy S21 Plus because all the iPhones are on the table, so we have to shoot it with something. And you see, we do have the very first one. Now it doesn't turn on, but look at the home button, very classic. This is the iPhone that Steve Jobs announced, the very original one here. And at the time, basically no one had this thing. It was very rare to see people with this, but over time, Apple grew and grew, and now everyone seems to have an iPhone. Now let's go on to the next one that I have here, which is the 3GS. So this is when 3G was a big thing. Just like you see 5G at a time, 3G, it sounds slow and funny now, but back in the day, 3G was a big deal on the 3GS. Now I don't have the iPhone that came before this, which was the 3G, but I do have the 3GS here because I wanted one of these bodies right here. And you could see they had this infamous problem where they would crack at the bottom quite a bit, and they look really plasticky and cheap. At this point, they look really plasticky and cheap, but they were still very popular devices and sold extremely well for the time. And that brings me on to the 4S. This is one of the most famous announcements by Steve Jobs ever with the iPhone 4S, and man, this was actually one of my first iPhones actually, and it was one of the most beautiful of all time. The stainless steel at the time with this iPhone was just an incredible feat here. Definitely felt so much more premium than any other phone on the market. And nowadays, even if you hold this today, this phone still feels like a little tank. It's a small tank, very small, 3.5 inches. You can see my hand just swallows that thing, but it was a beauty at the time. Now I actually have 3 5S's, and I'll tell you the reasons why. So this was actually my mom's, you know, 5S right here. She actually moved on from these days, and she's like, "You need it?" And I'm like, "Sure." And so I kept this one for the channel, and we did some, you know, speed test comparisons between 5S's back in the day, and we started out with those back in the day as well. Now this one right here is actually my sister's. She broke it. She was being a little bit reckless with the phone right here. And you could see that she was gonna just throw it in the trash. So I was like, no, I'll take it, and we'll talk about, you know, cracked iPhones and stuff on the channel. So that's where that one came from. Then we have the 5S. Now I bought this on a, you know, Black Friday for Straight Talk. It was like 99 bucks for this iPhone 5S, and you know, I was like, 5S was already getting old at this point, but I was like, for that price, might as well have one, you know, in the collection for future updates, because the 5S was still being updated, although with the 1 gig of RAM, it was starting to get slow. But the 5S is one of the phones that really catapulted this channel forward, and you could see beautiful chamfered edges here along the edges. And then came some people's favorite, even to this day, the iPhone SEs right here. So we got the rose gold one, and we got the space gray one here. Now I wanted the silver one. I was gonna buy one like late last summer, but it was hard to find them brand new. They're really actually kind of hard to find these things in perfect condition at this point, the original 2016 SE. And people were hoping that the 12 mini would be the exact same size, but it actually went up a little bit in size, but these were really fantastic devices. And this one right here, I think it does have power. This one still has iOS 14, the latest 14.4. Actually, no, it's pretty much out of power right now, but it does have the latest 14. I don't know if it's going to get 15. We'll have to see. Probably not. But over here is the iPhone 6. Now, I'm not going in like chronological order, so you can see I went backwards. The 6 is a little bit older than the SE, but the iPhone 6 here definitely was that phone, the infamous bending video. You remember that one, you know, on the Unbox Therapy channel with the bigger iPhone. This was that one. This is the smaller version. This one didn't bend like the 6 Plus. I actually got rid of the 6 Plus. So you can see I don't have every single iPhone. I don't have the original 6 Plus. I got rid of that device. Now this is another one that we covered quite a bit on this channel, and people probably still use this right now. iPhone 6s, A9 CPU. This phone still performs pretty well in 2021. It's a very functional device overall, and I don't think it will let you down too much on your day-to-day tasks. It was a very quick phone, had 2 gigabytes of RAM. That's when Apple started bringing the 2 gigs of RAM, was with the SEs, the 6s, and then the 7. I remember the lines for the iPhone 7 were just huge. I did have a silver one at one time, but then I got rid of it. My girlfriend gave me her old rose gold. This one right here, man, I gotta tell you, the iPhone 7 really just was an incredible phone for the time. It was really refined over the iPhone 6s. It gave you just a better camera, a better look, nice back, didn't have glass, so it wouldn't crack super easy. The lines were out the door for this phone, and the 7 Plus was also fantastic for the time as well. Now, like I say, we're gonna go to the Plus phones here. We're gonna go back to the 6s. So this is the 6s Plus here. This phone right here, definitely just a bigger version of the 6s, and it has the A9 5.5 inch screen. It does have a little bit better battery life. This one's out of power. Touch ID scanner. Was a premium phone at the time. You would have paid around $1,000 for this. Not quite, but close for this phone right here at the time. Not a cheap device either. Now over here, the iPhone 7 Plus. A lot of people confuse this for my iPhone 8 Plus. This is not an 8 Plus. This is the unicorn jet black version of the 7 Plus that many people couldn't get when it first came out. I got this after they got more stock in. I wasn't about to wait in those lines for this thing, but at the time it was a super sought after device. And the 7 Plus still performs very well today. A10 CPU, that's a Fusion chip, 3 gigs of RAM. Thing does have a dual camera. This was the introduction of the dual camera, and we had to get that one for the channel. Now over here, we got iPhone 8 Plus in the collection as well. I do cover this one still. I think I covered this one a couple weeks back, but still an incredible device. I actually got a comment yesterday saying, you know what, my 8 Plus still performs perfectly. There's no issues with it whatsoever. It performs like day one. So the 8 Plus, awesome. Now I did have a silver 8 Plus, but that phone, I actually, when the product red came out, I traded it immediately because I wanted this deep color red. And Apple didn't have a ton of red phones in the larger size at that time. So I wish they would bring the red over here to the newer Pro Max devices. But yes, deep product red iPhone 8 Plus. And then the iPhone that changed everything up until now going forward, the iPhone 10. The notch phone, the phone that's either famous or infamous for the notch, depending on your opinion of it. But this is the phone that if you hold this forward, everyone's going to think you still have the latest iPhone, the iPhone 10. And certain people are still after this phone. They still want to buy this device, and there's not a hard reason to see why. The phone still feels very premium. It looks like it's not that old, and the front still has a beautiful OLED display. This was the phone that Apple decided they're going to run it with this design for around 4 years, and they've been doing that. This was 2017. Now, going to some of the smaller phones, we do have the iPhone 8 as well over here. This is just a smaller version of the 8 Plus. This one wasn't super popular. I feel like a lot of people, were still just sticking with their 7s and, either going to the 8 Plus or going to the 10. So I feel like the 8 didn't get a lot of attention. Still a very good phone, but it just seemed like it was just more of the same from the 6S to 6 to 7, so wasn't super popular in my opinion, but still a very good device. Now over here, I did the same thing like I did with the older SEs. I don't know if it was just a habit of having 2 SEs, but I bought 2 SEs when they came out with the redesign here in 2020. I love this phone. Now the reason I did this was because I wanted one for personal use and one for the channel, and then I switched between them depending on the videos because I didn't want to keep showing the same color on video. And at this price, $399, it was around the price of just getting one regular iPhone. So I said I'm gonna get 2 of these for that reason alone. And yeah, so basically I can keep one in better condition. I could slam another one on the table during the videos. Now let's go on to the next phone, which is the iPhone XR. Now the XR is definitely a phone that we've been putting through lots of videos because this phone had such popularity, and the reason why was because the iPhone X shocked the world when it came around, giving you a $1,000 price tag, and then XR comes over here and it says, look man, I'm gonna give you a $750 price tag, more typical of the older iPhones, but I'm gonna give you the design, the newer design you liked. And people didn't even care that this had the liquid retina LCD display. They didn't care about that. And so people bought the heck out of that phone, and they still do to this day. Now the XS, another phone that falls in the category of the iPhone 8 in my opinion, a phone that didn't seem super popular at the time, and reason why, iPhone X, a lot of people weren't willing to upgrade from this, and when the XR came out, many people were like, I'm not paying $1,000 for that thing. And so I feel like the iPhone XS at the time didn't get fair treatment, but now as the prices are coming down, a lot of people are like, you know what, I'm gonna buy a XS now. OLED display. We got the, I think it's the Apple A11 in here. Was it A12? No, it's the A12. A12 CPU in here, 4 gigs of RAM, very good, very fast, good camera, smart HDR on the rear. So the XS I think is starting to get some new sales, new users nowadays, since it's got a lot cheaper than when it came out. And then we have the beautiful gold XS Max. Now people wanted a larger iPhone. When Apple introduced the 2017 iPhone X, they were like, why is a 10 smaller than the 8 Plus? I want a larger iPhone. And the XS Max was the first to bring it. And this thing sold like hotcakes, especially in this gold color. I've seen a lot of people with this gold color. So, and I think people are still buying the XS Max to this day on third-party marketplaces and stuff like that. And this phone, I could run this phone right now in 2021 and not get any less done than I could on a 12 Pro Max. This phone is holding up extremely well. Still has that traditional build of the iPhone X with the stainless steel edges, glass back, similar camera design. So if you've seen both of these from afar, you wouldn't know if they're using a XS Max or a 10. It looks basically the same, but the XS Max, great cameras, great size, great battery life. Overall, very good device there, still up to date for sure. And then we'll get on to the more modern phones here. We have the iPhone 11, one of the most popular phones Apple ever made, mostly because they improved on the already popular XR, and then people just bought the heck out of this one as well. Very good gift. Prices were right for this phone. Launches around the holiday seasons. You could do trade-ins, multiple different colors. iPhone 11, amazing device. I just covered this a few days ago. Definitely you should buy this over a lot of other iPhones right now because it has basically all the newer features at the cheaper price points that you're used to for, you know, getting a decent iPhone, you know, around that $600 price range. So very good option here in the iPhone 11. And then for people who want a little bit more, the iPhone 11 Pro, the stove top camera design makes its way into our iPhones, gives us an ultra wide angle, brings the iPhone to an actual pro level, mostly because you can actually do that ultra wide on here. You can actually do the different aspect ratios, a lot of pro things. And when I got the 11 Pro Max, this is when I started getting blown away by the battery life. This thing is insane. This is the best battery life I've ever seen on an iPhone. It even beats out the 12 Pro Max, mostly because I think it has 4G LTE. It's not sucking as much battery, and just really good optimization with the Apple A13 Bionics in here, having the pro cameras, super well all around device right here in the 11 Pro Max, and it comes in that beautiful midnight green right there. And then the phones you've been seeing quite frequently, we don't got to talk much about them, the iPhone 12 series. So we got the iPhone 12 mini, and we got the iPhone 12 here. So the mini version, the 12 version. I'm not going to go on and on about these. We've been covering those a lot lately, so if you've been watching the channel, you know what those are about. And then we have the Pacific Blue iPhone 12 Pro, very good device overall as well, and triple cameras, just improve on the triple cameras of the 11 Pro Max. And finally, we'll cap it off here with the big boy, the most premium priced iPhone of all time, the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I was gonna say 11 Pro Max are very similar, but squared edges, industrial build, beautiful overall screen, huge, biggest screen on iPhone ever, and really just giving you that HDR 10-bit video. This is the most pro iPhone ever. This is an overkill for an iPhone, but you can see basically here we have most of the iPhones that were ever launched here for the channel. So this is everything that I do currently have in the inventory, and I didn't even have to show you this, but I wanted to show you this because I wanted you to know everything that we have for the channel going forward. get your questions, your comments, your feedback about which phones, which videos you want to see compared against each other, maybe compared to Samsung devices, maybe compared to other devices, long-term updates, stuff I've missed out on, because it's a lot to manage all these phones, and sometimes I forget some of the ideas I used to have and some of the questions you've been asking. So use this as a feedback video to get those questions in down below. So thank you very much for continuing to support the channel. And remember, this is 7 years in the making. This is not 1 year to review. This is the dream I had, was to review all of these devices, to one day be able to help you guys out, to talk about these for what I do. And this is what we do now. So go ahead and let me know your questions down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Be sure to stay safe out there, be well, and peace.